If you walk around the streets of Harlem, you'll notice a change in the landscape. The people, the faces, the rhythms that once defined African American culture are disappearing. Instead, upscale residents are moving in and bringing their own cultural icons. Rents have skyrocketed despite a rough housing market. And that ultimate symbol of prosperity, Starbucks, has already opened for business. How has all this affected what was once known as the capital of Black America? Is this really, as some have said, the bleaching of Harlem? Look around. It must be hard to believe that we're in the epicenter of African American culture. Welcome to the new Harlem. Luxury condos and shopping centers are sprouting overnight, but new businesses and residents are pushing out the old. Case in point is Showman's Bar. Forced to relocate into this sliver of its former glory, it struggles to keep live jazz where it was born, but the fight's getting tougher all the time.
Jazz places are disappearing. Jazz as an entertainment thing, uptown, it's disappearing. And I hate to say that, it's disappearing.
Harlem used to be filled with venues like the Alhambra Ballroom. Some remembered Harlem streets as having 3 bars to a block. But these establishments are mostly gone. Squeezed out also are the musicians who played in them. The Harlem Renaissance Band, despite its name, now plays in Midtown at Swing 46.
The club that we were in was Wells. It's been in existence for about 60 years, and it closed. And it was one of the few clubs that could contain a band as large as ours, an 18-piece band.
Some may wonder why it matters for a town to have its dance halls. According to folk historian Cyril James, the ballrooms were central to Harlem's culture and identity.
Ballrooms were part of Harlem life. Every weekend, families went. Everybody would cook, and all the people would dress very nice. And the dances were a place where you could, where it was the social life. It was the heartbeat, the pulse of the community. You could discuss anything. Families would talk about problems. It's been forgotten, you know. And it was a way of dealing with all of the social problems of the community.
Would you say the jazz places that we have today are just like the ones we had?
No? No, nothing like them. No, this is commercial stuff now. This is not, it's not organic, you know. Black folk was organic. I mean, a guy could be on his way anywhere and stop, hear the music, and take out his instrument and start playing right out the street.
Not only did Harlem lose its people and the physical venues that held them together, it has also lost the unique sense of community that defined the Harlem frame of mind. Upscale restaurants like this new Ethiopian cafe have opened throughout the neighborhood. But owner McKinnon admits that serving the local community is not a priority.
See, as a businessman, my first goal is just to make money. We're not in an old socialist country. We are in a capitalist country. So the markets make the rules. So whoever afford stays. Who's not, that's how it is.
With the prices going the way they are, it's difficult to tell who can still afford them. Elsie Hill's rent has jumped over 50%.
When I first moved here, I was paying $500, and that's 4 years ago. Now I'm paying $760 because my rent just goes up, up, up. It's a dog-eat-dog situation.
But there seems to be no end to wealthier people wanting to move into the neighborhood, and so the prices increase with demand. Real estate agent Norman Horowitz has not seen the Harlem market suffer from the mortgage crisis. How much is this property again?
$3.9 million. But for you, I'll do 3.8.
Oh, thank you so much.
Not a problem.
I checked my bank account.
I know you'd prefer if I took out a 0, but cannot do that.
What kind of new people are moving in?
you have a lot of people coming from the Upper West Side, the Upper East Side, you know, where they're priced out of the market. You have people from New England who don't want to commute anymore because the price of gas is $18 a gallon and going higher.
What about people who already have their roots here? I mean, are they being squeezed out at any?
No, I don't think anybody is being forced out. I think the people who decide to sell, they want to take the money and utilize it where it could be more spendable.
But you haven't heard of.
But nobody's
people...
being forced out.
Nearly half of the brownstones on the same block have been got renovated and sold. Some of the old residents may not have been ready to say their goodbyes. Down the street lives Elka Arena Sindab. She purchased her house in 1982 for only $40,000. Now her home can fetch 100 times that value, a staggering $4 million. Ironically, Elka is finding it harder to get by on her fixed income. And what types of people have been pouring into Harlem?
Well, lately, and who can't afford it, we've had a lot of white people moving in. To be, because as of the black race and whatever, we can't afford it. I've known people that have moved to the Bronx or to Brooklyn because the rent rates, I mean, for if you get a studio, you're paying $1,500 or better. A one bedroom is almost $2,000 a month. It's not feasible.
Right. Have you seen your expenses go up in the year?
I've seen my taxes and my water bill have gone up. Con Ed has gone up. Patty's on the corner now. I went there to get, just to say me, to get a small 8-ounce cup of soup. They wanted $8. I'm not paying no $8 for no cup of soup. I can see the price going up, but then I economized because that's not my budget. There were black people or whatever, and people wasn't putting up with. There go one of my little friends. I'll get you out of there.
Elka remembers what old Harlem was like, but thinks it can never be the same again.
The old Harlem and the cultural and the music and stuff, I don't see that. I don't think it will ever be back to that, you know, because everything is changing and, you know, I don't think you're going to see the Harlem that was Harlem. And now they're talking about the different buildings they're building and what they're doing. It's Harlem, it's Harlem.
But is it still Harlem?
No, it's not Harlem. It'll never be Harlem again.
Harlem will get sterile. Like, that's what happens when you gentrify, you know, and everything gets bleached. There won't be nothing happen, just quiet like downtown. There'll be no more rhythm, no soul, no creativity, no more, you know, stuff that made Harlem is gone. I mean, colorful stuff.
Harlem is losing its color, and the numbers say it all. According to the U.S. Census, Harlem lost more than 13,000 of its African American residents between 1990 and 2000. At the same time, the general population of the area actually increased by 20,000. But some say that race is not the issue here.
I don't think the city cares about any color. I think they care about the color of money. Yeah. It's a green color. You know, honestly, it doesn't matter you're black, white, red, whatever. If you got the green, they don't care.
Whatever the cause, Harlem is changing. But what will it become?
I look at like 125th Street as kind of like the up-and-coming Times Square. It really does, you know, because you got all the different shops, you got the, you know, this and that, and the, you know, in the nights it's kind of like the bright lights.
Whatever Harlem will morph into, some Harlemites have already given up on the town of their memories.
You gotta accept it. You know, you gotta accept it. I mean, I'm glad I lived through what I lived through, and I'm blessed to have seen what I've seen and lived. I've seen the best part of Harlem.
But others, like Sekulu Shenge, the leader of the Coalition to Save Harlem, are not so quick to surrender.
No, we don't give up. Why should we give up? There is no need to give up. We have been fighting for the last 500 years. We fought slavery, and we fought through the civil rights, human rights, and we're gonna continue fighting. As long as there are people walking around here in Harlem, there is hope.
But protesters disagree over where hope lies. Some call for a boycott of the new businesses. Others urge support for the last vestiges of the old ones, before they too are gone.
If you look at the clientele here, they're middle-aged and above. It's the same faces that look like the same music and like the same friends.
But wouldn't that put Showman's in danger a couple years down the line?
Probably so.